Okay, so in this week's episode, we are going to talk about the show up and glow up and what we actually mean by that, because there's a lot of energies with us. There's a lot going on in the world, both in the 3D and the 5D, or if you want to call it the physical realm and the spiritual realm. There's a lot going on. And for those of you that are light workers, then you need to be listening to this one. Isn't that right, Silvia?
Yeah. Especially for me right now. It's like, okay, I need to find that light in the glow.
Yeah, yeah.
Find it where possible.
It's, I think, what we're saying here, and the one thing that's been coming on the radar in a very big way is there is a lot going on. And it's very easy to think there's a lot of negative things going on, but actually there's a lot of really, really positive, magical things going on.
Mm-hmm.
But there is an aspect, because we are in spiritual war, and I'd say that, and not to bring your vibrations down, but so that we can have a reality check, because living in fairyland it's not living in reality, and the reality is we're in spiritual war, and we need to be able to defend ourselves. We don't want to fight, we don't want to engage, we're not going to waste our energy on it, but we need to hold ourselves and create those boundaries, and we need to glow up. We need to light ourselves up from the inside. And it is interesting because Silvia and I were talking before we actually started doing this recording, and Silvia said, yeah, it's like a candle. You are the flame, and your flame grows, and then you light somebody else's candle, and then that candle lights another candle, and that candle lights another candle, and that candle lights another candle. And then you've basically got a ball of light. You've got your own sun in your community.
And I think that's really important to think about, because you can be the light for your community, and just watch that get bigger to a beautiful light ball. I know that we're not all in that state of mind most of the time. I know, speaking for myself, just last week I was in my candle was off, per se, and when I realized that, I took myself to a place where I can light it up again, and that I found that through the joys and the laughter of children, especially because I had been working with children and everything that's going on, and I could only hear pain and cries. I felt that I had to go to the opposite of it to hear the laughter and the joys and the running and the happy faces, and even the cries for ice cream, or the tantrums of little ones.
They're joyful, aren't they?
They are. And so I put myself in and just sat down and watched, and I can feel myself light up again. I can feel that sense of hope. I can feel that, that energy, and that gave me again that the energy and the light that I needed. Because you can easily just lose it so easily with everything going on social media. And when we are turned off, everyone can see we're turned off. And that kind of also, believe it or not, turn off somebody else's without even knowing, and so on and so forth. So we want someone else to light up our candle, and that's what I was shown. That's not how it works. You need to find your light. You need to find your own light, and then maybe you will be somebody else's light. Because they can't just come and take it. It's like they will see it's contagious. The joy is contagious, kind of like the laughter is contagious.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because one phrase that I've always used is, and I think you made an important point there, is you have to find and hold your own light. That is your purpose. Everybody, especially, and Silvia said social media, but it's not just social media. Even in the spiritual community, you can get a little bit egoic. That we have to find our purpose and our mission. Our purpose is our own personal development and spiritual growth, our soul expansion, finding our light and maintaining our light. And then once you've built that and you're able to maintain it, you can use your light, which is a phrase that I've always used since I can't remember, since I started, is I use my light to help another find theirs, because you expand it, you push it out. It's like having is the difference between having a little torch and then having a halogen lamp. Just to give it some kind of context here. So it is really, really important.
It very is. I think, and this came because I think we tend to look for others to find joy or find the light. I'm starting to see it more in the spiritual community, actually. And I'm not just saying that to attack anyone, but it's the what I'm seeing is the find your light, come to this retreat. And I'm like, to me, I'm like, okay, like this is anyone that's a spiritual that works in the real spiritual, that's not how it works. But of course there are others that are going to take advantage of that, and
it takes hard work. It's the bottom line. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of personal investment to find and maintain your light. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, a lot of taking off layers, a lot of shadow work, a lot of it's but it's a process, and it doesn't all have to be done in one night. And I think that's what you're saying there, is one retreat is not going to help you find your light.
No, it's not. But what I have a problem is when they promise that, and I just you can't really do that. I mean, let's be honest. How many of us have done this for years and we're still doing it at it? It's a process, and it's like I said, just like when I was such in a dark place. And I said low vibrations, dark place, because of what I was working with, that I needed time to rest and heal. So I need to find that light again, because I knew I was running out of fuel. So my brain was getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So I had to completely cut that off and then move into so I can recharge. And that's what I did. And I think a lot of us forget that we need to cut off with that and we need to recharge. And that's I think that was the message I was trying to come in through, is that we're being used so much that we need to right now just cut off and recharge.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because this is aligned with a video that I did on the other channel about constantly healing. And are we constantly healing? Is there more work to be done? There's always going to be work done till the day we die. And when you were talking then, the visualization that I was shown was this. It's almost like we cut off the oxygen, which is why the flame starts to die down. And yet if we move ourselves into love, we're always in love anyway, but if we move ourselves into the energy where we can feel the love of others and the laughter and the joy and the innocent silliness, that instantly brings in the oxygen that you need for that flame to raise up again.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're in, it's just being around genuinely happy people. And I know some people are like, it's really hard and everyone's always so busy and I live in a busy city and stuff like that. And I always tell everyone, it's like, just go to the arrivals part of an airport. Just grab a drink, grab a coffee, go sit there for a couple of minutes and watch true happiness. And just watch people reunite. And that's where you're going to find it. And sometimes when I'm feeling low, I actually do that. I kind of this time I went to a park and a water park because it's so hot. And I just watched the kids because I was working with kids. So I was like I want to hear the other part of the kids. Mostly when I feel like my flame is going down and I just need that boost of genuine happiness and love, I go and sit in the arrival section of an airport of Orlando. And it's good that in Orlando we have this coffee shop and we just sit there like, what are you doing? Like, I'm out and about. But it's really good that when you see them and they're hugging, it's just so genuine.
Well,
happiness,
it's true love,
love.
isn't it? That's the thing.
It's
It's
love and true
true
happiness.
love.
And watch yourself leave that place like, okay, I can tackle on the world again.
Yeah.
You know. So it's like it's almost like you take your car to get fueled up. You take your, you fill up waters, you fill up everything else, but we
You fill
forget
up your
to
groceries, your cupboards. It's
yeah, exactly. And it's the same.
yeah.
And sometimes even if a one retreat is not gonna do that because I feel like when you go to a retreat to find that you're taking away from others. Does that make sense? Like they're there and not everyone's got it's like a bunch of empty cups. So no one's really, and the only one that's kind of given is the person hosting it. And that's not enough. So for me, I always felt that way. That's the same for me. So when I have the problem, but when you go to someone where there's tons of people there with joy and light. So if you can imagine all these people with light everywhere, and you just take a little bit from that and a little bit from that, you're not taking anything. It's just like, okay, I just refill my cup, I can go.
Yeah, I think we need to, because a lot of retreats do a lot of good work and they all work on a different premise. But I do know what you're saying. In the last couple of years, I have seen, I think you need to be, if you're thinking about going on a retreat, you're thinking about giving to yourself in that way, then just kind of read what they're promising to give you and
Mhm,
see how that equates to the agenda that's actually written there. Because
mhm.
I've noticed there's a few with a lot of beautifully written words, but actually you kind of go, there's not a lot of content there. And the other thing is always be because the other thing is always be careful of the retreats that are jam-packed full of stuff, because a retreat is about self-care. It's about
Mhm,
self-love. It's about retreating
mhm.
into yourself and being introspective. And if every hour of every day is jam-packed full of activities, you're not going to have the time to be introspective. You're not going to have time to process what you're learning. And I do,
Yeah.
it's interesting, but so I know where you're coming from there. I have seen a few like that, and I'm thinking, Christ, I come back from that and need a holiday. It's
Mhm. Exactly. And I mean, I know I went to your retreat, and when I first read your retreat, I was like, oh, good, there's not that much activities. And at first I thought it was like gonna be like, oh, it's gonna be a holiday and I'm just gonna one class and then go and relax and sit by the pool. And I think that one class was just drained me where I needed to like spend the whole time in my room just retreating and realizing and working just mentally drained.
Mhm.
And so that's why you shouldn't have like, okay, on this day we're gonna have yoga at 6, and then we're gonna have group meeting, and then we're gonna walk through the forest, and then this and that. In my head, I'm going like, when are you gonna have time to
Yeah,
process
yeah.
everything you're working with?
It has to be said, the retreat that Sylvia came on, for the viewer that doesn't know, she came on a very intensive healing retreat that I was offering at the time. So yeah, she had the I actually worked it. We only did workshops in the morning so that they had the afternoons and evenings to themselves to basically integrate and
Yeah.
process. There's a lot of processing that goes on within that program, so
Mhm.
it gives the time to process. But not every retreat's like that. But it's that's what I'm saying. When you're looking at retreats, what first of all establish what you're wanting to get out of it, and then really be use your discernment when you're reading what's there. Is it giving you time to relax? Is it giving you time to retreat and have
Mhm.
that introspection? Or is it a lot of fluffy words that, as Sylvia said, shine? Well, you're going to shine your light. Well, that's an inside job. That's an inside job. That's for
Mhm.
you discovering your happiness, as we've just said, so that you can ignite or reignite, I should say, that flame from within and learn how to maintain it. And as Sylvia said, you can go to a retreat if you want to, or you can go and sit in an airport, or you can go and sit in a park. Anywhere where there's laughter, where there's joy, where there's innocence, where there is unconditional love. And kids and dogs give unconditional love.
Yes, Sarah, go to yourself. I always say don't go to a park, I mean to a zoo, because I feel so sad for the animals there. But I mean, nature walks are great as well. Listen to what running water, crashing waves, all of those things help you energize, for that matter, and bring back your glow. But we should do that on a
And
most
allowing
regular
yourself.
basis.
That's a really big thing that I've seen, is allowing yourselves to take time off and have fun. It doesn't have to be serious. Everything doesn't have to be. I'll put my hands up. I've been guilty to it as well. I'm like, oh, I need to do this and I need to do that. I'm on my purpose, my mission. And you can get you can get so focused that you forget that actually the one thing that keeps you aligned is the love and the laughter. And so just keep that in mind, and, show up and glow up for yourselves, because that helps everybody. And so that's bye-bye from me.
And me. And as always, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Till next time.
Bye-bye.